it means we each have direct access to healing.
Correct.
And so you're helping clients find this healing,
Mhm.
tune into this access. Can you give our listeners a few tools that they could take away today and start implementing in their lives to tune in with those higher frequencies and to let go of that dense energy?
Yeah, there's a lot to share on that. Yeah, I think the first one we always start with this awareness, the awareness that okay, something doesn't feel right. So there's some discomfort. I don't either I've got physical pain in my body, I've got emotional pain, I've got relationship problems, I got financial problems, health problems, whatever it is. Things generally start with some type of a crisis that kind of wakes us up to realize, okay, something's not right in my life. I need to get myself back on track of where I need to be. So it starts with awareness, and then you have to say, okay, well, what do I want to do about this? And like you said, there's so many different paths to healing, depending on what's going on with the people. So I guess I'm going to share primarily the paths that I take my clients on, since that's what I'm most familiar with to be able to talk on. And then you have to have the desire to change. Change is really hard. For whatever reason, we've been conditioned in our society that change is difficult, and change is hard, and change is bad. So people resist change. I think change is wonderful. Change is what transforms us. We're continually being transformed to being a better version of ourselves. And so some of it, we just have to start with changing our mindset around change and seeing change as being a very positive, loving force that can come into our lives and not be afraid of change. Um, so one of the things that I start with, the first thing I teach my clients is what's called muscle testing. And I don't know if you ladies are familiar with that. But we have our conscious mind, we have our subconscious mind. Conscious mind, I'm aware of everything going on right now. We're having this conversation, talking about these topics. This is our conscious mind. The subconscious mind, also called the soul, is your master computer that has your entire life history. It's all recorded on the soul level, on the subconscious mind. And what people don't realize is that everything you do on a conscious level is being controlled by the programs in your subconscious mind. And the programs start from childhood, the different experiences we have. So let's say, for example, as a child, let's just say that some type of abuse occurred to you at night in your bed when it was dark. So your subconscious mind records it's not safe to go to bed with the lights off.
Mm.
And so you always have to sleep with the lights on until we change that program to say it is now safe for you to sleep in bed with the lights off. Does that make sense? That's just a simple example. So we have lots and lots of programs. If you were raised in a family where there was a lot of lack and parents struggled to make money and things like that, you got the mindset and subconscious mind that it's hard to make money. Life is a financial struggle. I'm never going to get my ends met. Well, if that's what your belief is, that's what you're going to continue to perpetuate as an adult until you go in and change the subconscious programming that I am worthy of financial blessings. Financial blessings come to me with grace and ease. Everything I need will always be brought forth to me at the time that I need it. Now you're going to start living out your conscious life in a completely different way. So what I do with my clients is I help them change the programming in their subconscious mind. So muscle testing is how the subconscious mind speaks to us. And so it's really easy. I just have you stand in front of me like this is you standing in front of me. I can ask the subconscious mind any question as long as it's yes or no. So if I were to say, it's a struggle to make money, and I actually believe that, my body will naturally sway forward. And so now we know, okay, well, your mindset is that it's a struggle to make money. Your body told us that. Well, we don't want you to continue to live that way. So we do some energy work with a person, then we come back and check our work. It's a struggle for me to make money. No, it'll go backwards. Backwards is a no. And so we can check our work to make sure we're making these changes in the subconscious mind. And we can also find out what we really believe. A lot of people think they love themselves. And I have to say, well, stand up and say, I love myself. No. Many times it goes no, because we are not taught to love ourselves. And if we can't truly love ourselves, we're going to have a difficult time loving anybody and loving God. So that's one of the first beliefs I check on people, because we have to start at the core of getting you learning how to love yourself and getting rid of all those beliefs that tell you why you're not worthy of loving yourself. So that's muscle testing. Any questions on that before I move on to the next one?
Can you do that online?
Yes, absolutely. You can do energy work online. Everything can be done online. I could have you stand up right now and muscle test you if you want to. Yes, it can be done remotely. Yeah, energy has no geographic bounds. That's what's beautiful about it. I can work with anybody in the country, the world, and the energy is going to go through and it's going to work and they're going to get the benefits from it. So then we do something, how we can use muscle testing is there's something called the emotion code. So throughout our life, we all feel emotions. A lot of times it's either not safe to express them, we don't know how to express them, and so we tend to stuff all that stuff down, thinking it's going to go away. Emotions are energy, they're frequency. They don't get away. They get lodged in the cells, the organs, stay there long enough, they're going to cause illness, sickness, and disease in your body, mind. So we want to get rid of those. So once again, muscle testing. I've got a trapped emotion of anger. Yes. I got a trapped emotion of fear. Yes. I got a trapped emotion of depression. Maybe that one would go no. So we find out what the trapped emotions you are. Now, the way I release these trapped emotions, it's very similar to, I kind of compare it to hands-on healing. Like some of the churches I went to, hands-on healing, people lay hands on you, just like Jesus did. Energy goes out, the pain goes away, the headaches go away, physical pain, you feel better. I do the same thing, but I take emotions out of people. So I stand behind you, and along your spine is your main governing meridian line where all your electromagnetic energy is running down that point. All I do is I just take the energy of my hands, I run it down, I just start calling out every one of those trapped emotions and pulling them out of you and getting rid of them. And then afterwards, we muscle test. We release anger. Yes. We release depression. Yes. Making sure that we got everything out of you. After I do emotion code, most people say, I feel lighter, I feel better, I feel more relaxed. And I said, well, you should, because I just took a bunch of heavy, dense stuff out of your body mind. So you should feel better. So when you're doing emotion code, you can do a general one. I have trapped emotions today. Yeah. You can do specific ones. I have trapped emotions for the time that I was sexually abused at age 8.
Mm.
And then we can take out the ones that are specifically out of that. So you can, everything energetically is layered within your body mind system. There's just layers and layers and layers of all this energetic stuff from trauma, abuse, things that we've incurred in life. And you just kind of take them out layer by layer. And every time you take it out, the person feels lighter, they feel better. And one of the interesting things that I found is the more I begin to release all this dense, heavy energy out of people, what they find is they find that they're able to reconnect with God again. They'll say, "Oh, I'm starting to have dreams again. I'm starting to see visions. I can actually see auras. I'm starting to hear God speaking to me again." Because once again, when we open up all the energy channels, now the presence and power of God can flow through us and we can reconnect with God on a more powerful way. So, any questions on the emotion code?
No, it's actually reminding me, it's kind of blowing my mind because I have young kids and um they watch Bluey and they just watched an episode and I'm like, how profound is this? Where Bluey goes, yeah, you take all the anger and all the upset and you
Yep.
find it where it is in the body and you pull
Yep.
it out and you throw it far away. And that's just
Yay.
what it sounds like. And I'm like, oh my
Yep.
goodness, they just taught kids how to energy heal
Yes,
like
they
that
did.
quickly.
Yes, they
Wow.
did. Um, yeah, and sometimes, I will do it to specific organs. If someone's, we'll figure out, do I have anger in my lungs? Do I have anger in my heart? Do I have anger in my intestines? Where do I have? And then I'll just focus the energy on that particular organ and release all that stuff out of that particular organ. So there's a lot of different things we can do with this type of hands-on energy work with people. Yeah.
So, Joyce, is this something people could learn and do to themselves, or do you?
Um,
Yeah.
the emotion code, no, that's difficult to do. And the reason why it's difficult to do on yourself is because we get attached to all that stuff within us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's harder for us to release it because we're attached to it. So if you take a third party person like a therapist or energy healing, they're not attached to any of that stuff. So it's much easier for them to release it. So sometimes we'll say, can I release this? Is it release this? And it'll say no. If the body says no, you can't release that. It's because the body isn't feeling safe enough to release that energy, whatever it is. That energy has been serving a positive purpose in your life all these years, and it's not safe to let it go. So, no, I can't release it unless the body gives me permission to release it. We
Ah,
That
can't override the will of the person, the will of the body mind.
Yeah,
sounds
that
about
reminds
right.
me that reminds me of and I don't know if you think about this connection or if this is separate, but that reminds me of like internal family systems
Mm,
and the protector
yeah,
of no, I need this because it keeps me
right.
safe.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Well, we can go there right now. We'll talk about theta healing because that kind of ties into that. So, theta healing is looking at all the beliefs we hang on to because we think they're keeping us safe. We think they're helping us, and really, they're not helping us at all. And so once again, I do two types of theta healing. One is we muscle test, so let's come up with a belief. We'll just say, I believe I believe I don't love myself. I'll just start with that. Belief is I don't love myself. And so we're looking for all the reasons why you don't believe yourself. And so you're going to it's called theta healing because theta is a brain wave. There's different types of brain waves, your alpha, your beta, your gamma, there's theta. When you're in a theta brainwave state, that's when we can open up the subconscious mind to make all the changes. A theta brainwave state is right before you fall asleep at night and right before you wake up in the morning. So generally I have my clients, do some deep breathing to try and get them down to a lower theta brainwave state before I do energy work on them. Now, in this form of theta, I put headphones on them. The headphones have what are called binaural beats. Binaural beats will automatically put you in a theta brainwave state. So by having the headphones, they're already in a theta brainwave state. And then it's a program where there's a voice that comes on and talks to them. And so the voice is looking for all the reasons you hang on to this. So it'll say, I need to hang on to this child to be safe. And we're going to say yes. And the voice will say, do you want me to change that? And hopefully my client says yes. It just takes a couple seconds for this guy to do his energy work, and then we do it again. I need to hang on to this trauma to be safe, and they go, no. So within 20 minutes, they could rapidly shift and change about 25, 30 belief systems in a person. So it's probably the best tool I have, especially for people that have trauma and releasing all the reasons why we're hanging on to this trauma. So kind of a basic reason that a lot of people have is, this person hurt me really bad. I have to remember how badly they hurt me to make sure nobody ever hurts me that bad again. That's what the ego tells us. But the reality is, if that's what you're thinking, you're putting out this energy that someone's going to hurt me, someone's going to hurt me, someone's going to hurt me. So guess what? You've just increased the chances of someone hurting you. But if we could chase that to feel, I feel safe, now you're putting out, I feel safe, I feel safe, I feel safe. So the chance of someone hurting you has gone down, way down, because you shifted the energy, you shifted the mindset you're sending out into the universe around you.
How can that affect the chances of other people's actions?
Well, this is where it's very interesting because we're all interconnected. Energetically, we're all interconnected. Everything I do, say, think, and feel is going to affect the world around me. Whether I'm consciously aware or not, it's going to affect the world around me. It's like this ripple effect that goes out. So for some people that may be closest to me, it may affect them quite substantially, either for good or bad. People that are further out from my sphere of influence, it may not affect them much at all, but it will affect. They've done studies where people get meditation groups together and they will focus on a certain part of the world or certain city, and they will just focus on bringing peace and love and harmony to that part of the world. And guess what? That part of the world settles down. There's less war. There's less conflict. People are starting to get along because collectively we put all of our energy together and we focus on this certain part of the world. So there's a lot of scientific studies that show this, that we are all interconnected, and our faith and our focus and our attention can shift and change things anywhere we choose to.
Yes, I remember reading a study about something like that. It was with prayer,
Yeah.
like prayer literally affecting change.
What is prayer? Prayer is sending out positive energy to a certain person. Our words are energy. Our intent is energy. Our beliefs is energy. And you focus all that on a particular person, they're going to get healed. They're going to feel better. We are very powerful, powerful beings. We don't realize how powerful we are because we're energy. And so often we're using our energy to create more negativity in the world, to create more conflict and dissension in the world. But we can use that same amount of energy to shift it and provide more love and peace and joy in the world.
Are there some cases where, because of this person's dharma or path, or some might say God's will, it truly is time for their life in this body form to die, so healing won't happen? For example, in a hospital, a 30-year-old woman who is dying from cancer, theoretically, we could join the world together to pray for her, but maybe it's her time to pass on. So I was wondering if you could speak to that, because in a lot of cases, healing doesn't happen, even though we have so many people praying, working.
So we have to expand our concept of what the healing word means. So let's
Mm.
take the example you got. We've got a 30-year-old, she's cancer, she's dying. Her husband, family, lover, they're praying, doing everything they can to bring the healing to her. However, she may have come into the world that her life plan was she was going to die early because that was going to serve a purpose to help the family around her. Maybe there are people in a family that are going to learn really powerful life lessons through her death, and they're just not aware of it at the time. So you see this all the time. You see people after some, like, we'll just say, like, mothers are drunk driving, or because her son was died in a drunk driving accident many years ago, she started this whole organization to come against drunk drivers, to put legislation to help people and other families going through this to make the world a better place. So she took what could have been a tragedy of her son's dying and brought good, brought life-giving things out of that to make the world a better place. So sometimes that is the healing. The healing is for the people that are left behind. The healing is for people to question their beliefs, question their thoughts, question their mindsets, question their purpose and what they're doing on the planet. Maybe there's some things that need to shift for them. That is choosing to die, and that is their life pattern. They're giving a gift to the people left behind so that they can look within themselves and see areas in which they need to bring healing to themselves, if that makes sense.
Mm, yeah. I like how you said redefine what healing means too.
Yeah,
And I like and I like how you're saying it's about how you affected other people within your life and that sphere of influence and that continuing on. I also like to think about, energy and laws of energy, and energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. And so living on within that energy and that energy living on, and so redefining healing to me, it also may include you as an energetic being or your spirit living on after this life and
yeah,
going on to a higher and
correct.
holier plane, and
Yes,
that being a part of your healing experience,
yes.
and transcending
Mhm.
um this plane and being able to find hope and healing and happiness and light your spirit continues on. And I think a lot of times that we feel that grief being those left behind, but the light and warmth and joy that comes from that next plane of existence,
Mhm.
I think is healing in a
I
way
agree
that
with
we
you.
don't understand. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad
just
you
yeah.
brought that up because here again, it gets back to our teachings about death and dying.
Yeah.
We see death as the end of our life. No, our life never ends. We are eternal spiritual beings. Our life just goes on in a different place, but we don't ever die. And so, yeah, for some, the healing comes. I need to transition to the next place, and that is my healing because there's something else I need to do at another place, location outside of planet Earth, so to speak. And so we have to get rid of the idea that life ends at death. No, life doesn't end at all. It just continues on in a different form. But like I said, the people that are left behind, it's difficult for them because they love this person. And it's creating a void in their physical existence, not having this person with them. So it can be very painful to go through that grief and grieving process. But the person who's left has been healed, if you want to say, by leaving her. She's left all the cancer behind. She's left all that behind her physical body, and her spirit is now free to soar and take on a different form of a body. So that is another form of healing.
Beautiful. Joyce, would you tell us about your books?
Yes, I have 3 books. So let me tell you. This one is Interconnected by God, Healing for Your Spirit, Soul, and Body. This is the first book I wrote. And the reason I wrote this was because at the time I was in private practice and I was specializing in working primarily with Christians. And then I started getting this energy stuff and I was trying to introduce it and they were scared of it. They thought it was the devil. They thought it was new agey. It was woo woo. They didn't want to touch any of this stuff. And so I wrote this book to show them that energy healing is based in the science of quantum physics. It's based in psychology and it's also in the Bible. This is chock full of Bible verses where it talks about energy healing. We just haven't interpreted the verses correctly. There's a lot of places where it talks about light. And if you transform that into energy, which it is a proton, you kind of see these verses very differently. And like I said, you look at the way Jesus healed, that was energy. And so I wrote this book so people would not be afraid to use energy based treatments and they'd understand how they work. So that was the first book. This book is no longer in print, but you can get it through me. People can contact me. I'll be happy to mail them a copy of this book, but you can't get it on Amazon. The next one is God is Love, My Spiritual Journey from Fear to Love. So this is the journey took me on when I turned 50, and God said, hey, give up everything you've ever believed. I'm taking you on a different journey here. And so within this book, I kind of went through all the different topics that Jesus asked me to go through and wrote about them to help other people have the courage to take this journey, give them the confidence to take this journey, kind of share with them some of the things that I learned, the different fears I had to overcome. So like the first chapter is just who is God? Looking at God from a whole different paradigm than what we've been taught to understand God. The next one is, what do love-based relationships look like? How do we create those as opposed to these fear-based, ego-based driven relationships that most of us have? The next chapter is all about fear. Chapter 4 is the church life. All the things within church life that I had to go back and look and reframe from a place of love. The next is all about Jesus, looking at Jesus from a different perspective, looking at the teachings of Jesus from a perspective of love rather than a perspective of fear, and how that changes the meaning behind what Jesus spoke. The next is looking at spiritual literature. So I was being taught you don't read anything outside the Bible. That is the only book you should ever read is the Bible. Anything else is going to take you away where you're not supposed to go. Well, I found out that there's this thing called the Book of Enoch, which has all kinds of history that ties right into the Bible, that gives you additional information that the Bible doesn't have. I found out there's the Nag Hammadi scriptures, which is fascinating. This is a lot of the books that were not put into the Bible because they teach the more of a loving side of Jesus and more of the higher way of interpreting his scriptures. And there's all kinds of fascinating things we can learn about that, that here again, it's tied into the Bible. A Course in Miracles. That one absolutely transformed my life because it was all taught me to look at Jesus and his teachings from a completely different place of love instead of fear. And so I talk about these different books to encourage other people to look outside the Bible. So we don't throw the Bible away, but there's other books that are complementary to the Bible. There's other books that give us additional information to help us understand the Bible better. The next one, chapter 7, look at all the beliefs. What are all the different beliefs out there? And how they're based in fear and what they need to look like to be based of love. And the last one is what I call the spiritual realm. I talk about the human energy system, how we're all interconnected, the different spiritual beings that are out there, reincarnation, death and dying, the demonic, and what life is like on the other side. So that's all in this book here. And this one you can get on Amazon, or you can contact me and I can send you a copy, but Amazon still has this one. Then the last one, this is Restorative Love, Healing Sexual Abuse and Trauma. So if you remember a number of years ago, there's this whole movement coming out where all the women were coming out talking about how they've been sexually abused at work by these partners. It really made the mainstream news about it. They were all taking on this victim mode. And it really bothered me because they never moved out of the victim mode. And I thought, wait a minute, if you've been sexually abused, you don't have to remain a victim the rest of your life. You don't have to remain angry at men or the people that hurt you the rest of your life. There's healing for you. So I wrote this basically to show how using energy-based treatments, you can go into the subconscious mind, shift and change all of that trauma so you can be victorious and you don't have to live as a victim of sexual abuse the rest of your life. And this one you can also get on Amazon.
Yes,
So those are my books.
Yeah, I love the perspective of you're not a victim of your trauma, you're a survivor of your trauma. So it
Yeah.
sounds like that
And
is,
even, it's not even
yeah.
besides, I don't like survive, I like thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Survive, you're still stuck there, but thrive, I can turn this around into a force of good in my life.
Yeah.
I can become a much better version of who I am because of what I went through, now that I have this higher level, spiritual level of understanding of what all that meant and why it happened to me.
Yes. From pain to possibility. I'm thinking of
Correct.
that phrase that
Yeah.
Melissa Lago talked about
Yeah.
In
on
our
our
last
podcast.
Yeah.
From pain to possibility. The possibility is endless since we are
Absolutely
eternal
is.
beings, like
That's
you
exactly
said.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Joyce, you are a being of light, a delight, and deeply, deeply wise. Thank you for sharing what you've shared. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today before we wrap up?
The only thing is just, if people want to contact me, I do have a website for my business, and that is livingfreenow.net. So you can go on there, information about what I do and services, things we offer here at our center. My email, if someone wants to contact me, email is livingfree5d, as in destiny, at protonmail.com. And then my phone number is 618-210-3500. So they're welcome to contact me if they have questions, if they want to work with me, different things like that. Like I said, I enjoy doing public speaking, sharing, going on podcasts, letting people know about this information. So thank you so much for letting me be on your show today. And I hope this will be a blessing to everybody who listens.
Thank you so much, Joyce. We also join you in hoping that everyone will gain blessings from this episode. And maybe an invitation for all of you listeners is to just be aware of where you are energetically and how you would like to embrace change as positive. Like Joyce said, it's a positive thing. Doesn't have to be this hard effort, but a flow, an opening to possibility. This
Yes.
is Guiding Light. I'm Jenna Carson,
I'm Sierra Larson.
and we hope you follow the peace.